what are we going to do now? What's going to happen now is I'm going to take the people who are in my strategy lab already. I'm going to work through the workbook with them now. I'm going to work with them for a confidence reset, and I'm going to look with them through my 4-step protocol that I built specifically for the moment of wobble. How are we going to deal with it? What is it? What is the next step for us? So the workbook is already in the members area and it's waiting to be completed by members. Then in the show notes, you'll find the link to go and join the strategy club.
Mentoring with Geraldine is a bite-sized practitioner podcast for naturopaths, nutritionists, herbalists, coaches, and practitioners. This podcast responds directly to the needs of you, the practicing natural therapist. We have interviews during the holiday season and business and mindset support each week, so you'll get the variety you need to enjoy and stay motivated in your practice. If you want to connect with me, always check the show notes because that's where you'll find the links to book appointments. Now, let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite Size Podcast. How the devil are you? So here we are in May. Everything has changed. The way I work, the systems, the systems are all the same, the background's all the same, but the way my system is working for you has changed. So we're going to start off with the public podcast. And who is this for? It's for the solo practitioner. So you might be an naturopath, you might be a herbalist, you might be a nutritionist, you might be a massage therapist. Who knows what you do? Chances are you probably do more than one thing because most of us do. And I am here and the strategy lab is here to make sure that you have skin in the game with my content, to make sure that you are doing the work, that you're heading in and having a look and having a go at what I'm talking about. With my podcasts in the past, I've always left you at the end of the podcast with something to do or something to think about, a new behavior, a new thought, something that, would add to your business. And occasionally I made workbooks. And some of you would access those workbooks, but not enough of you considering how many people listen. So I've changed it out. There will be 2 main podcasts each month. In between, there's going to be a very quick hello. This is what we've been talking about. So welcome. Now, what we're talking about in May, we're going to start with clinical confidence is where we're going to start talking. There's always a lot of discussion in all the Facebook groups about confidence and feeling confident with your clients. Now, I have the Monday group, and that is all about confidence with clients because people are able to ask about their clients. No question is too small. No question is too silly. Okay. But here we are on the podcast. And if you want to, you can join the strategy lab and then you can print out the workbook. You won't be getting access to the workbook anymore. This is the new system. So you have skin in the game. So have you, I know I have, ever finished a consult and immediately wondered if you got it right? Because if you thought to yourself, I missed something. It was, it was too short. It was too long. They glazed over. That's what you're here. That's what we're going to talk about. All right. We need to name this silent problem that we have. And it is a silent problem for us. When you look on social media, we look on social media and we go, oh, wow, that's so cool. That person's doing so well. Aren't they incredible? And that's just knocking your confidence. Okay. That's not your clinical confidence, but that's your overall confidence. All right. We need to make sure that you have the confidence every time you go in and see a client. Because what don't you have? In the hospital, I would have other nurses talking to me. All the doctors are in around. They've got another doctor to speak to. I go to the physiotherapist. They're in a group. They're in a team of physiotherapists. And you have got youth. You might have some friends that you went to college with, but people might be being a bit cagey with you because they don't want you to know that, they only have one client a fortnight or they don't have any clients at the moment, or someone else might be doing amazing and you can see that they're doing amazing. And you're like, oh, wow, you've got full books, you've got, 5 people a day, whatever it is they do. And you're just like, I'm terrible. Okay. But there's nobody there for you then to talk to because all of these people seem so different to you. Okay. So we're obviously told that confidence comes through study. Okay. But there is actually a line, is the more you learn, the less you know. Okay. Women are particularly susceptible to this problem. There's research that shows that a woman will have done a master's and be earning less than her male colleague who's got the degree, but he just went out and did the job. He didn't go, oh, I don't know enough. And the majority of you listening will be women, okay, because that's the majority of our business. We are women. We can fit this job around all of the other things we've got to do. We have to pay a mortgage, but we still have to, bring up children, or maybe we're single, but we've still got a mortgage. We're fitting it around the other things we do. Maybe we had a job as an accountant before, and then, we've studied. Then we're slowly easing in to this consultancy practice, seeing clients. A lot of people as well, because when we're talking to people, there's it's not just some, there's lots of skepticism out in the world, right? And there are snake oil sellers. Let's be honest. We've looked at people and gone, really? Really? How have you got a following? Why are all these people following you? Because you don't know diddly. And it's frustrating, isn't it? It really is frustrating. You're looking at these going, I cannot believe that somebody believes you, that you have to drink or eat that or do that or swallow those essential oils or whatever it is that is bad for them, because you've done the study, you've done the time, the days, the hours, and that person hasn't. And, and you're so frustrated. And all of the time, that's actually eating away at your clinical confidence, but why are they doing so well and I'm not? What's different between them and me? And you're looking on their Instagram or whatever it is, going, how come they're so good? But we don't actually know the facts. We don't truly know what's going on in the background behind closed doors. So we do need a bit of a protocol with how we do things. We do need systems in place. How many times have I talked about systems? But without a system, we can also have the comparison leak. Okay. So you're scrolling, you're doom scrolling on Instagram. And because you're following your friends, Instagram's offering you more natural therapists to follow. So you're following all the natural therapists. Hopefully you're following me. And so you're looking at all those and you're going, wow, these people are so good at what they do. How come they're earning so much money? They're doing so well, which you don't actually know the background. You don't know if they are or not. You don't know if they're just particularly good on Instagram. I've totally caught myself doing this. I've totally caught myself looking at other people's because of what they've written in a Facebook group or something like that. They've said, well, I get all of my clients doing this, that, and the other thing. And, why aren't you? And then I go and look at their website and I think, well, actually, your website's a dodge, love. The simple fact is, like me, you've been around a long time. So you've got a lot of people saying, hey, go and see Geraldine. Go and see this person. Google My Business is my go-to. That's where I've got all of my clients. I've never got my clients on social media. Get my mentoring clients on social media out of the Facebook groups, because that's where we are asking our questions. You probably know I run Strictly Practitioners. I run it with Sam Mark. And, I'm off. So when I go in to have a look at that one, I will end up in the other groups, like the Entrepreneur Hub or wherever it is. And I've got my podcast. So I'm putting things out to the world on a regular basis. I have managed to not get dragged under and think to myself that I'm not as good as other people because of their websites. Every so often I'll look and I'll go, oh, they're really good. How have they done that? Then I think to myself, well, it doesn't really matter. That's someone who likes seeing, 8 clients a day with half an hour for each client. It's not my style. And we have to remember how different we are as well. We are different to the next practitioner, and that's what makes us unique. And that's what means that our clients will see us. I was going to a GP practice where I lived before, and they actually had quite a high turnover of GPs, I realized. They had some really stable ones who were there forever, and then they had quite a high turnover. So I'd need to see one, I'd go to see one, I'd go to see a different one. It'd always been a different one. So then I've moved here and I'm like, no, I'm going to find myself a GP. And I've gone, and she looked nice. She does healthy aging. She does some respiratory stuff. That's what she's got on her little wee website blog. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go and see you. She's in a big practice, really close. I'm so far really happy. And I think when we go out looking for when our clients go out looking for a practitioner, they're looking for the person that suits them. Okay. They're looking for that one practitioner who says something to them. There's no point we're all competing for the same dollar. At the same time, we're not, because what you say will speak to somebody in a different way to the way another practitioner will speak to somebody. All right. So what is the other clinical problem? So for us, it's sitting around on social media looking at things and panicking and thinking we're not as good as other people. There might also be the result leak. Okay. So you've written a treatment plan and then you're second guessing the treatment plan. Then you start second guessing every decision you've ever made. Bread was first produced or the wheel was first created. And assuming that one outcome means a pattern with the client. So that would be your client comes back to you and says, I haven't done anything you told me to do. Now, therein lies the rub. I haven't done anything you told me to do. As soon as they say that, you know that you're wording what you say wrong because it's a partnership and they're the one doing the job. So it shouldn't be that you told them to do anything. It should be a group decision. It should be, hey, how can you do this? Can we fit this in? Do you think you will be able to change your eating habits, your patterns, whatever? And I have had people who've said, I haven't done anything, I didn't make that line up. I've had it said to me, right? So I'm being totally honest with you here. We've got to remember that this is going to happen. And we do need to look at ourselves and go, okay, I need to change the way I work. But we don't need to beat ourselves up about it. All right. We need to, what went wrong with this client? How can I change this? Chances are you've overgiven. That's what normally happens, right? We also have an authority leak. Okay, so we've got 3 leaks, really, haven't we? We've got the comparison leak. We do that. That's self-funded from scrolling. We've got the result leak, which is where we've seen the client and things haven't gone the way we wanted them to go. And then we've got the authority leak. And the authority leak is when somebody says something to us, a family member says, oh, you've got a lovely little job, or that's a nice hobby, or somebody pushes back about what you've said on your social media. They said that's not true. Or, I've messaged people and said, hey, you're actually breaking the TGA rules by saying that. You might want to adjust the tone of what you just said. And the whole time I'm saying it, I'm like freaking out. Like, am I going to upset this person so much that they're never going to post again? Or are they going to be grateful that I pointed this out to them that, the TGA is actually pretty good, I've got to say, and that they will give you warnings. I'll say, hey, this isn't the way you've got to do this. This is the wrong way of doing it. Please change. And then you change, right? And if you don't change, then woe betide you. That fines are $30,000, but you're going to change, aren't you? Because we don't know sometimes what we're allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say. So, an authority leak could also be your client goes to the GP and the GP makes a really negative comment, says something horrible. Okay. So the workbook, I'm going to go through specific examples. So in the strategy lab, I'm going through specific examples of these 3 and what we can say, because there are reply lines to all of these things. So we're going in the lab itself, we're going to work through what the members of the lab would say, which can be you if you join up. So, because at the end of the day, confidence isn't a certainty, is it? Right? And what is it? It's kind of like a steady relationship of not knowing the answer and berating yourself for not knowing the answer and being really hard on yourself and then being harder and harder and harder on yourself. So, and that's why we need the support. That's why we need others helping us, because otherwise we're just kicking ourselves in the teeth over and over again. So experienced practitioners aren't certain. We have to Google stuff. We have to look stuff up. Okay. The difference between an experienced practitioner and a newbie is that we're comfortable. Okay. We can sit with the client and the client will feel the difference and they can see the difference. And so that's where we have to move you from that lack of confidence to the confidence. Okay. Because we want you to thrive through the next decade. We want you to have the business that you want, that you dreamed of. Okay. So when I work in my practice, I have doubts, 100%. Of course I do. But my natural my being is one of resilience. Okay, so if you've done my Pediatric Online Mastery course, then you will have seen the portion about resilience. And resilience is made as well as learned. It's something that that is created in your environment, as well as something you're innately born with. So I'm a middle child. So of course I was ignored. You got to get on and do everything yourself. So middle children tend to have greater resilience than lots of other people. So what are we going to do now? What's going to happen now is I'm going to take the people who are in my strategy lab already. I'm going to work through the workbook with them now. I'm going to work with them for a confidence reset, and I'm going to look with them through my 4-step protocol that I built specifically for the moment of wobble. Okay, because we all have wobble. We all have wobble, but what are we going to do with it? How are we going to deal with it? What is it? What is the next step for us? So the workbook is already in the members area, and it's waiting to be completed by members. If you're new to this and you're thinking, hey, what's going on? Then in the show notes, you'll find the link to go and join the strategy club. So this is the end of the public portion. This is the end of the public part of my podcast. So at this point, I always say, look after yourself. Make sure that you enjoy your rest of day or whatever it is with what you're doing now. So that is the end for you. But for my strategy people, keep listening because we're moving straight into it.
Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast for the weekly episodes. Bye for now.